Welcome back to Software Engineering Fundamentals, the video series on using Git. This is video number 4, and it's about saving your own changes. All right, so the purpose of this operation in Git is you want to be able to back up your own files in case your computer crashes, and you also want to be able to prevent conflicts with other people. So we basically want to save this into our repository. Now this is in this video we're just going to be committing, which is saving into a repository on your local machine. It won't be in the cloud yet. So when should you be doing this? Well, I recommend you should do this every few minutes. That sounds pretty excessive, but really every time you complete a bit of source code that's functional and it actually compiles, you're allowed to have bugs, you're allowed to have incomplete features, as long as you've finished a session of coding and it's not going to impact other people. It can impact other people because you're not pushing it to the cloud yet. So as long as you've reached some sort of little milestone, save it, commit it. Think about it as every time you save a file when you're editing a text document. All right. The reason for this frequent committing is because it'll help resolve conflicts later on. And the commands we're going to learn is pull and commit. So let's just have a look at our picture. So we're still over in the second user at the moment. So as we saw in the last video, we cloned the repository from the cloud. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit one of these files and then commit it to our own local repository. All right, so let's have a look at our Eclipse that was open. And so these are the 4 files we cloned. We're going to edit this translator.java file. So you'll notice we've got some question marks here because I didn't know what the translation for these words were. So we're going to have a translation for the word world in Mandarin. So let's see if we can find out what that is. We'll just go back to a web browser and we'll just Google it. What is it? World in Mandarin. And Google should help us out here. Yep, okay, so what we've got? World is 世界, by the looks of it, 世界. All right, so let's type in 世界. Okay, so that's Mandarin. We'll probably get rid of this space. All right, so we've modified one line, or we've modified 2 lines, and we now want to save this so we don't lose this. Now there are a couple of ways to get to the Git staging tab. So we can go up to our project and right-click and do commit, which will bring up the Git staging tab here. Or alternatively, since it's already there, we can just click the Git staging tab. It's the same thing. Now you'll notice there's no unstaged changes apart from the project. So that's because we haven't saved the file. You'll see there's a little asterisk in the top there. So if we save that, then you'll see it appear in the unstaged changes area. So what we want to do is add it to the staging area. And there's 3 ways we can do that. We could click this little add button there, add the selected file to the index. Index is the same as the changing, or we can right click and add to index, or we can drag and drop it like that. All right, so I'll leave the .project aside because that really shouldn't be checked in. So I don't want to commit that and give that to other people because every other member of the team is going to have their own .project file. So I probably could remove that from the index if there was an option for that, or ignore it, just to get that out of the way. All right. So what git ignore or ignoring files does is it prevents it from being checked into the repository. So things that are personal files, only you don't want other people to have, should be ignored. Same as when you compile your Java files to class files or generated files, they shouldn't be checked into the repository either. All right, so we have added it to staging. So the next step is we want to commit. So we want to add a commit message. So this is, we added Mandarin translations. We'll just say Mandarin words. Okay, so that's the essence of the change. Try to have a concise but good description of what this change is. All right, so what we want to do now is commit. Whoops. So we'll just run commit again and see if we get our commit button, which we're not. It's probably because we're off the edge of the screen. So that's all right. Okay. All right, here we go. So let's resize our screen. You've got to be careful when you're using large size monitors and moving them around on multiple monitors. All right. So once we add a commit message, the commit button should be enabled. Now we don't want to push at the moment because we don't want to, when we do little bits of code that may affect other people, we want to save it for ourselves, but we don't want everyone else to get it yet. So we just do a commit. So I'll just click this commit button and it's committed those changes. It's gone from the staging now. And we should, if we go back to not GitHub, that's now committed in our repository. All right. Okay, let's refresh that. All right. All right, I'm just looking for a way to view all our commits, our local commits. I'm not sure whether you can do that in Eclipse. If I find out, we'll see if we can I'll maybe do that in another video. There's a way to look at all our local commits. All right, so what we've done at the moment, let's have a look at our picture. We've modified a file here. It's gone into staging. So we look at this one here. We modified a file. We've added it to staging, so it would have moved here, and then we've committed it, and it's moved over into one of our local commits here. So it's effectively like we've added another commit message. Sorry, another commit locally. But we only modified one file, so it would look something like this. So we've created another commit message, but it's not over here. It's not in our cloud repository yet. So it's only a local commit with a small change to one file. That's what it would look like. All right, now at the Git command line, there's one more thing I want to talk about. At the Git command line, you can, there is a command commit-a, which will automatically do the staging and the commit in one go. So all the files that have been deleted or modified up to this point since the last commit can be automatically staged and committed. You can only do that on the command line as far as I can tell. I can't find a way to do it in Eclipse. So if you are using the command line, look into that, git commit-a. Otherwise, this is the way you do it in Eclipse. All right, so that's all I had for this video. In the next video, we are going to be talking about how to share your changes with other members of the team, which we have done briefly before. But what I wanted to emphasize, what I didn't do actually, is it's very easy to commit without pulling. So I didn't do it. So what I want to emphasize as a discipline for you guys is to always make sure you pull before you commit. It was fine for us to do that this time around because we had just pulled we had just cloned this repository from the cloud in the previous video, so there were no changes. Now, if there were changes that other members of the team had pushed to the cloud and we had tried to commit, it would most likely, I'm pretty sure it would give us an error saying that we need to pull first. We need to be up to date with the cloud before we can commit, or before we can push anyway. So it probably wouldn't prevent us to committing to our local repository, but when we then try to push it, we would get a problem. And then when you pull, you'd get conflicts. So what's a really good idea is, rather than wait until you push to do your pull, you do your pulls all the time, really frequently. So every few minutes, you do a pull just to make sure you have the latest updates from every member in your team before you even do your local commit. And that will help reduce conflicts. All right. So let's just do a pull just to show you how to do that, even though I've done it in the wrong order. So what we would have done is just do a pull, fetch result. So everything's up to date. So that's all we would have need to do, is to confirm that we're up to date, and then we can do could have done our commit. All right. So I'll see you in the next video.